The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
I know.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Friday, May 9th, and today is National Home Front Heroes Day today, guys.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Down with a little Home Front Heroes.
That's me.
It's also, this is probably one of my favorites, National Alphabet Magnet Day.
Okay.
Oh, there's a national day for that? That's cool.
Bro, right? Those are the coolest, man, magnets ever.
Yeah, that goes way back to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. It's also National Sleepover Day. So if you got kids, you know what I'm saying, you may be throwing a slumber party tonight.
Every Friday.
We're talking about, kids, not grown adults, Jesse.
Dude, I have 7 kids, remember?
I know.
Yeah, so I'm the king of sleepovers.
All right. I love it. Let's see. It's also National Butterscotch Brownie Day.
Butterscotch is one of my favorite flavors, especially actually a butterscotch dipped ice cream cone.
Bomb. Butterscotch, caramel, those are my jams.
Go.
Yes. It's also National Moscato Day, Jenny Beth.
No, thank you.
Dr. Mark, it's National Lost Sock Memorial Day. Is there any scientific calculation for how socks get lost?
I don't know. Lost
The laundry elves. Everybody knows that. It's the laundry elves.
The laundry elves, huh? Interesting. It's also National Knockout Rose Day.
What's that?
Knockout roses, you know what I'm saying? Like all the florists are getting ready for Sunday, because Sunday is Mother's Day.
Oh, knock those roses out.
It's a variety of rose.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
A knockout rose.
It's a it's Mike Tyson's rose.
Oh God.
It's also National Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
Okay.
Oh, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And National Provider Appreciation Day. And I think that wraps up National Nurses Week this week. So shout out to all the nurses, and also happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there this Sunday.
Thanks, Jace.
Yes.
Go Mama Gwen in the chat.
Yes, and thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet, and we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms, you guys. And we are kicking it off with Miss Jenny Beth Dills, who's feeling a little bit better, but not quite all the way better yet. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Served, a 501c3 that helps justice-impaired individuals. And here it is today is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Yay. Thank you. Sorry to miss yesterday, guys. Glad to be back. Happy Friday. I'm going to keep it short and sweet today because any cannabis operator already knows this, and I can't wait to discuss it with you guys because a credit crisis is quietly threatening the cannabis industry. More than $2.2 billion in unpaid invoices are clogging the supply chain, with California, Michigan, and Massachusetts leading the way. In some states, over 30% of payments are past due. Experts say the shift from cash deals to credit without proper vetting is to blame. Once invoices are 90 days overdue, the chances of collecting drop below 50%. For companies already operating on tight margins, unpaid debts can be devastating. A $10,000 loss could require $40,000 in new revenue just to break even. Industry leaders warn to tighten payment terms, run credit checks, and stop relying on handshake deals or risk going under. So, I mean, obviously, this is a big issue for especially for small operators, but for all operators in the cannabis space. Watching some of my friends have to take out bridge loans to cover payroll because they've got $200,000 in unpaid invoices out to dispensaries is really frustrating, especially when we know that they're selling through that merchandise. So I'll throw this back to you guys and see what you think.
Well, we all know that this is a big problem in the industry overall. That is without beyond a shadow of a doubt. But Jenny, what do you think is like the main key for this? I think a lot of it is just the exorbitant taxes. You know what I mean? The all the different payroll taxes that have to be applied, and a lot of operators they're focused on paying that first before they're worried about paying any vendors, and so sometimes paying all those things can just take all the money out of the sales of some of these stores that aren't doing enough revenue.
I poo-poo on that one a little bit because we're putting a keystone markup on average on all products, right? And so by the time half of that inventory is sold, the money is made back. To pay back 0% of your debt and site taxes is just wrong. I think a lot of people are misappropriating their money. And I don't think it's just going to taxes, because when I go to Walmart or wherever and buy groceries, right, that tax is put on my receipt. You know why? Because I'm paying it. So the tax largely on most of the things in the retail space is going to be a pass-through tax. You're tasked with collecting that from the consumer and passing it on to the government entity, right? So with those markups, with those margins, I think people have just gotten really comfortable with the fact that you don't have to pay COD for weed anymore. And they can go ahead and say, well, let me pay another brand that I owe money, or let me put this in my pocket, or let me whatever. I don't think that there's any excuse for not paying for your inventory.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree with Jenny Beth. The retail market, the dispensaries, we know, especially in California, dispensaries make more money than anybody. And it's a shame that somehow they seem to not be able to pay their vendors on time.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that analysis because dispensaries are the part of the supply chain that are hit the hardest by 280E. Jesse, you have the least amount of availability for any type of write-offs or anything else like that. So a lot of your money ends up going to those agencies.
I mean, in that sense, but in the other sense, they have 100% free markup, and all they have to do is take the weed and sell it.
Yeah, but rent's expensive, bro, and having all those employees on staff is expensive, and then you got to have all the back-end house employees are expensive.
I understand that. That's still not. It's still nothing like what a farmer goes through. And so they have the most opportunity to make the most money. And so why do they have the hardest time paying their vendors and the farmers that give them the cannabis in the first place? That doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is that then obviously you don't know how to do math.
Well,
right.
A lot of people don't know how to do math. That's true.
Yeah, so you run a retail business and you don't know how to do math, which is the only function of your business. Like you can't add up rent and payroll and the cost of the cannabis and the 280 taxes and everything and appropriately price your cannabis so that it's marked up at a price that you can pay your vendor on time. That makes zero sense.
Miss Anna Lewis go ahead, Jesse.
Every other retail space has no problem doing that, and they have just as many. Especially if you're in the alcohol business. If you're in the alcohol business, you've got all kinds of regulators and taxes and all kinds of stuff up your butt, and they seem to figure it out just fine. They don't have a problem paying Crown Royal or paying Jack Daniels or paying Dickel or whatever the thing is. They have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is different in the cannabis space? Why is there no enforcement? Why is there this trickle up effect of not paying for the products that you sell?
Because cats think it's okay to run off on the plug.
There you go. And that's exactly what it is. It's like coming from this really old thing. Remember, we don't front.
Yeah.
Right? That was the old saying. I don't front anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because if you front a pack to somebody, are you going to ever see that money? No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening across the board.
Well, fair enough. And Miss Anna Lewis, the CEO of Catalyst Cannabis, says in the chat, she says, vendors first, government and yourself last. And then,
and that's why Catalyst is such a good dispensary chain, because they actually have morals and ethics, and they actually run their business properly. And Elliot and Anna know how to do math.
And they pay bills.
She also Anna also says retailers have no back door.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that they don't have. They can't make extra money and make up for things that way.
You have any thoughts on this, Dr. Mark?
No, I mean, and this has nothing to do with safe banking, right? I mean, it is.
Well,
I'm just.
Sometimes.
I mean, I think a lot of this is related in regards with safe banking, because a lot of these people are operating in a cash flow type of environment, and it's easy to spend cash when it's in your hand. And so, if there were automatic payment things set up with people to where it's just automatically deducting out of your bank account, I think that could be possibly an easier way to alleviate this issue.
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering again, like all the conveniences that safe banking can bring, like point of sale. Well, they could do point of sale purchase, right? But does that impact credit? Does that impact
point of sale systems have no impact on your credit or anything like that whatsoever.
I guess I meant would safe banking increase access for these customers for credit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Most definitely. Because we would have access to traditional banking mechanisms, could take out actual business loans from banks to cover different costs and things like that. So yeah, that 100%.
Right.
Yes.
And then the business loans don't get paid back.
Well.
Yeah. So I mean, like.
Well, then the bank comes after you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a totally different ballgame.
They're going to lose credit rating, and they're going to get dinged if they're late on making credit payments, just like any other business, right? And this isn't any special or any different, right?
I mean,
No, other than Dr. Mark, it's all underground, right? So you have, because there's it's all cash for the most part. So it's a farmer who's, whether it's indoor or outdoor, they're growing the cannabis, they're handing it over to the dispensary, probably not doing a COD and getting the cash right on delivery. So they're handing it over on a front, and then they're waiting for the retailer to sell it and then promise to pay later. And it's usually a 30 or a 60 or a 90 day, right? Well, those 30, 60 day or 90 day payments come around and they just never pay. So it's the problem with fronting. So it's really the farmers and the growers and the distributors even who are engaging in this and never getting paid.
Right.
But the dispensary is getting paid because they sell the product. So there's a gap there and there's no enforcement. Who's going to enforce it? That's the problem. Whereas if the bank was involved and there was more legitimate financial services involved, they're going to come for you.
Well, there is a new agency that does credit ratings for cannabis companies now. So if you've got vendor reported debt and that vendor goes on that side, it's going to be hard for you to get any product in your store. And slowly this will weed people out, because if you can't pay your bills, if you're not willing to pay your bills, you shouldn't be able to have product on your shelves.
And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, I left one, you know? But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Yes.
Did you have a picture for Anthony?
No. Jenny Beth, and we are back. Do you want to introduce me or you want me to just go into my story?
Well, now the very pushy, very humble head honcho of the High at 9 News, Jason Beck.
Highest Republican in the room.
That's right, Dr. Mark. You are so right about that. Well, you know, we were just talking about money, and more money, and this is a whole story about a whole bunch more money in New York, you guys, because medical marijuana operators see a major hurdle with a new, get ready for this, you guys. If you thought New York was crazy, you're going to think they're even crazier after this, because they have a new $15 million licensing fee for medical cannabis operators. That's right. There's been a shift in how the medical marijuana industry functions in New York State. And about 5 years ago, medical marijuana operators were thought of as the elephant in the room, the deep-pocketed corporate players that could steer the market at will. And that may not be the case anymore, because currently New York State only has about 95,000 patients who are certified to use medical marijuana and 30 medical dispensaries to serve those patients. Both of those counts have been dropping, and with the new state budget, things could take a turn for the worse. As the issue at issue are licensing fees for dual medical and adult use marijuana operators, and the new state budget includes a requirement that those operators who want to offer both categories of marijuana are required to pay a $15 million licensing fee, you guys. Katie Neer, an attorney and lobbyist for the New York Medical Cannabis Industry Association, the NYMCIA, and of counsel at Dickinson and Novella, says the fee is too steep for the handful of operators interested in this space. In a quote, she says, "Unfortunately, we're going to be trying to rebuild this medical marijuana market from the ground up here." She told Capital Tonight. In an additional quote, she says, "That's what I hear the decision makers in Albany say they're supportive of, and let's hope they mean it, you guys." Well, I can't believe this. They are really trying to just, you know what I'm saying, just nail medical cannabis to the cross and just hang it up and just throw it, you know what I'm saying, put a stake in it because it's done. $15 million to be able to sell medical marijuana with 90,000 people able to purchase it in the state of New York. What are these people thinking? I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this even coming from? That's what I want to know.
I have no clue.
Who's the
Kathy
who's the
Hochul.
New York? Yeah, Kathy. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is a shame, and this is really sad. This is how medical patients get left behind, and this is it's just egregious.
It's insane, right?
With only 95,000 registered patients,
Mm-hmm.
that's just not even. It's like so outlandish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like at least it's like it's so outlandish that it's. I mean, there's almost no words for it. It's insane.
Yeah, right. It's
bananas.
It's absolutely, yeah. This is nutso, bro. $15 million. I mean, what's even the point? They're just trying to kill medical marijuana altogether. I feel like in New York, and just say, hey, you know what? It's all adult use, and I'm not mad because I believe that all use is medical use, regardless of. Oh, there's Dr. T. Dr. T, welcome. You're right on time, man. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this, Dr. T. Oh my goodness. New York, okay, you ready for this, Dr. T? New York, they are upping their license fee for medical cannabis retailers to $15 million a year annual fee. What do you have to say about that?
Well, what I've learned about government is that they would prefer one customer rather than thousands of customers. And this is the way to sort of consolidate the industry, to have one big player rather than multiple little ones. It's a disservice to the little guy that wants to have their own small business.
Yeah. But Dr. T, the only people that really have these medical licenses were the big MSOs that were in New York in the very beginning that had millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Right, so it's more of the same then.
Yeah, it's a big cash grab. They're like, hey, you know what? You guys obviously can prove you can raise money, so raise some more money for our estate, and we're going to take it in the form of a licensing fee.
Sounds like the government to me.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, the more that you say about this, Jason, it sounds like there's a backroom deal going on. Like, there's only got to be one MSO who's willing to pay that or wants to, and then they would dominate the market. And I guess, even with only 95,000 patients right now, if you dominate the market as the only license holder who's willing to pay that, then in a 10-year span, that could be worth it.
I don't think that would ever be worth it, because at the same time you have to get those 90,000 people, which that number is also dropping, to want to go to your store. Well, there's a two-prong approach, Jesse. It's not one. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're the only one doesn't mean people are going to shop there. This is just going to fuel the illicit market, and people are going to be like, screw it. You know what? I don't even need my card anymore. There's no thing. So people are just going to drop out of the program, and so that 90,000 is going to drop to probably like 20,000 after the first year.
Oh, I think that logistically and logically you're right, but I don't think that these people are thinking that way. They're just thinking, I want to own this market.
They're not going to own anything because there's going to be no market.
Again, you're on the logical side, you're correct, but from their point of view, they see it as a market and they see it as owning it, or at least the New York regulators see this as, well, we'll just hand it to one person who's gonna be willing to buy this, and then there'll only be one medical dispensary in all of New York, and there'll be a chain of them.
Man, where's Kim Rivers when you need her? You have any thoughts on this, Jenny?
I never need Kim Rivers, and I gave my thoughts. It's just egregious disservice to the patients, and it's unfortunate.
Any final thoughts on this, Dr. Mark, before we move on?
Well, we're talking about New York, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, how does this address the trap sales in Manhattan, right? I mean,
it doesn't. It's not meant to.
Yeah, I know it's not meant to, but I mean, like, if you're a medical patient in New York, chances are there's like many different mechanisms, right? Just go to your local smoke shop in Manhattan and get whatever you want.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Order a product online, have it shipped straight to your door like everybody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this, it's so crazy. There's so many boxes that get delivered every day in New York alone, bro. It's insane. All the apartment buildings just. Well, on that,
and their medical law was a no smoking law too. It's like one of those dumb no smoking things. You could like vaporize cannabis, but you can't smoke.
Yeah, but similar to a few other, few other states that were very, very restrictive in that type of policy. And we're going to keep this train rolling. You know, hopefully New York will get it right. I doubt that they will. You know, yesterday we did cover a story about them removing the OCM director's salary, which was she was getting paid like $229,000 a year, and when her other people that were on that committee with her or running it with her were only getting paid like, you know, $260 per time that they had a committee session. So that was pretty interesting. So, you know, in New York, you are like literally the gift that keeps on giving. And on that, we're going to keep on rolling into doctors because it is National Nurses Week and it's the final conclusion of National Nurses Week. And we're going to roll right in to Dr. Gene Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your doctor's recommendations online all the time and be fine to be able to get your cannabis and possibly even get a state card and be tax-free. That's right, it is none other than Dr. Gene Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. Happy Friday, everyone. And thanks to those nurses out there who are the true caregivers who take that journey with the patients and help them make it through. Definitely deserve their kudos. So my headline today is from Arizona State University News. Study, cannabis-related hospital visits on the rise, linked to mental health disorders, by Joe Rojas Burke. The rate of cannabis-related hospital visits in Arizona rose by 20% between 2016 and 2021. In an increasing share of those visits, the patient was diagnosed with a mental health condition. Arizona State University Associate Professor of Psychology, Madeline Meyer, has found in a new study. Cannabis-related visits were nearly 8 times as likely as visits unrelated to cannabis to have a mental health condition as the primary diagnosis. Meyer and co-authors reported in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs. The association between cannabis-related visits and mental health diagnoses increased each year, most prominently among people aged 65 or older. ASU News talked with Professor Meyer about the research and its implications. Here are some of her answers. In Arizona, legalization of non-medical cannabis didn't happen until late 2020, with sales starting in dispensaries in 2021. Our study covers a period earlier than that, so we can say without a doubt that the increase in these visits was not caused by recreational legalization. It's possible that medical use contributed to the trends we observe, but we can't say for sure. Our study doesn't address mechanisms. It was observational. It documents the correlation and its increase, but can't address why. The increasing potency of cannabis might be a factor. The concentration of THC, the psychoactive constituent of cannabis, has increased a lot. In the 1990s, the THC concentration of cannabis products was about 4%, and today the average THC concentration of cannabis products in dispensaries across the country is about 20%. And you can find products called concentrates that contain upwards of 80% or 90% THC. Another possibility is that an increasing number of people with mental health problems are turning to cannabis thinking it might be useful for treating anxiety or treating depression. It may be the case that more people are doing that. We know that depression and anxiety are among the top 3 reasons that people give for using medical cannabis. It's important to point out that the rate of cannabis-related hospital visits remains much higher among younger adults than those 65 and older. For the 10 to 12 to 17-year-olds, the rate is more than 2.4% of hospital visits, compared with 0.4% for those 65 and older. But older adults are showing the steepest increase in cannabis-related hospital visits and increase in the risk of a primary diagnosis of a mental health condition, given a cannabis-related hospital visit. I think that healthcare providers have an opportunity, if they find out a person is using cannabis, this is Professor Meyer, to educate them that the THC content has increased a lot in recent years. I think that we have to warn people that this more potent cannabis could potentially be associated with acute harms, as well as potentially longer-term mental health risks. We have to educate people also that even though many states list mental health disorders among the qualifying conditions in medical cannabis, studies have not been done that show it's beneficial for mental health. In fact, existing studies have found that if you quit using cannabis, your mental health will improve. Physicians should probably know that, and we need to do a better job of getting that message out. So even though Professor Meyer made some negative comments at the end, I appreciate the study. The response by Professor Meyer seems fair and balanced. I agree that cannabis is not for everyone. It's best used with intention and understanding as to how it benefits you. I want to point out that alcohol-related emergency department visits are 5% nationally. That's double cannabis-related visits in the youth and 10 times in the 65 and older population. Alcohol-related visits are more life-threatening than cannabis-related emergency department visits. Alcohol increases the risk of depression, panic, and impulsive disorders. Clearly, cannabis is safer than alcohol and should be as accessible, if not more accessible than alcohol. What do you think? Does cannabis cause mental health disorders or help them? Have you known anyone to stop using cannabis for mental health reasons? This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
I mean, I think, Dr. T, don't you think that there's also just been an increase in the diagnosis of mental health disorders in general? Like before, we didn't know PTSD was a thing. It was just called night terrors or whatever, right? So
Tremors.
That's definitely got to be more correlation than causation. I definitely have used cannabis very successfully in dealing with PTSD and anxiety. Now, that being said, I'm not going to go smoke certain things. Like Blue Dream would send me through a wall. But, that's also knowing your body and knowing what strains that you should consume to not have negative reactions. If I have anxiety, I'm not going to throw something that's really cerebrally active on top of that.
That's right. On the other hand, by the way, Blue Dream is excellent for people with ADHD, or so I've had reports of that. So, it depends on what kind you use, how you use it, what intentions you have. Absolutely. PTSD has been around for quite a while. It's been around at least a couple of decades, and before this study. But you're absolutely right, Jenny, that the people we're investigating people. This may be uncovering mental health disorders that were not reported in the past. And that's really what I believe that they're doing. And that's what Professor Meyer pointed out. I think the higher concentrations of THC may cause problems for others, but I don't think that they should be banned or warned against. I think people should just be helped in finding the dose that works for them.
Dr. T, was there anything in the article, I don't, if there was, I missed it, about the usage? Like, are most of these from edibles or concentrates, or is it just random? Did they not notice that or take note of that?
Yeah, this is an observational study. It's all correlation and not causation. They weren't specific as to what dosage was being used or what type of cannabis was being used. I mean, type 3 cannabis is high CBD, low THC. If they're unlikely to go to emergency rooms for ingesting that. So it's really, it depends on the type. Absolutely. Good point.
I have, I do believe cannabis has helped a number of people with mental illnesses over the years, and I've sold a number of numbers of bags of weed or whatever to a number of 5150s over the years, Dr. T. That's for sure, without a doubt. And I have witnessed some people come in, some of these 5150s and come in and straight up say that, that it actually induced more in them. And I think those people were much more on the schizophrenic page than as of other mental illnesses overall. That's what I've personally noticed.
It could be, but I have several schizophrenics as patients who benefit from cannabis, especially if they're on other medications. It helps tolerate the other medication. But yeah, and I have known patients to say, hey, it didn't work for me. So that's okay too. It's not for everyone.
It's not, exactly. I try to tell people that all the time. It's not for everyone. You know what I mean? And, pharmaceutical drugs, to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, doctors, that pharmaceutical drugs only actually help 10% of the population that suffers from the actual ailment that the medication is designed to help. Am I correct on that?
Well, I haven't seen the stat or how it was collected. It's an interesting. Okay. There's definitely a movement away from prescription drugs because of the side effects, and so, or the fact that it just hasn't helped. I think there's a movement toward alternative treatments because of that, but I don't know the percentage.
Interesting. Are you familiar with that stat, Dr. Mark, at all?
No, are you talking about like how effective the drug has to be in a clinical trial in order to get approved?
No. So what I'm referring to is what I've heard from doctors is, let's just say pick a drug, any drug. Dr. Mark, pick a drug.
Oh, I don't know. Eliquis.
Okay,
right. So
Eliquis would only actually help 10% of the population that suffers from that ailment.
He's talking, Mark, about real world outcomes versus what's happening in the clinical trials.
Yeah. So what they try to do in a clinical trial is they try to get a diverse enough population in the cohort that they can extrapolate over the entire population. But that's always difficult because people have existing medical conditions. They might be taking other medications. But I wouldn't think that number is too much higher than 10%. It doesn't have to be to get approved, right, Dr. T?
Usually you want the placebo effect alone is 30%.
30%.
Yeah, it's approximately 30%. So if you
would want to be at least as effective as placebo then, right?
Yeah, or slightly more. Like SSRIs are around the placebo or slightly more than the placebo effect. That's in clinical trial. Real world outcomes is a different game, and I think that's what Jason's talking about.
Yes, that is what I'm talking about. And on that, we're going to talk about something else, and we're going to roll into a commercial, and we are going to be right back.
This one in the mix.
Oh, and we are back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And I do want to apologize to everybody out there. I have got a couple text messages from people during this week saying that I was like a little bit off or whatnot this week. And this week has been super tough for me overall. It's National Nurses Week, and so in honor of that, we want to dedicate the National Nurses Week overall to the memory of my mom, who passed away on Tuesday. And she was a registered nurse, and she deeply cared about helping people and whatnot. And on that, we're going to go into our next commercial, and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
And we are back, you guys.
Who do we got up next, Jason?
Dr. Mark, Jenny Beth.
Oh, get your blue notebooks out. The smartest guy on the dead lot, Dr. Mark Scialdone. Sorry, that's the best I got for you today, Dr. Mark. I know I undersold you quite a bit.
That's just fine, Jenny. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a good week. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's graduation here at St. Michael's College, so that's always a big thing. So congratulations to our seniors. So my story today comes from the MJ Biz Daily, from Margaret Jackson, and it's entitled, "Is the Future of Cannabis Gummies Fast Acting?" Despite representing a small slice of the overall cannabis market, fast-acting marijuana gummies are a powerful force, generating significantly higher sales per stock-keeping unit, or SKU, compared with traditional edibles. This segment of the marijuana market is capturing consumer interest and commanding premium prices. With a faster onset time, consumers are trying to guess whether they'll feel the effects or are less likely to consume too much. Right? You could always eat less, you can't eat more. Or no, wait, you could always eat more, you can't eat less. That's right. Fast-acting products account for about 74 million, or 3%, in a $2.6 billion gummy market. That's according to analysis by Colorado-based market intelligence firm BDSA that was commissioned by Azuka, a New York-based company that delivers rapid-release solutions, emulsions, activators, and other products for cannabis edibles and beverages. Although they make up a smaller portion of the market, the fast-acting gummies significantly outperform traditional edibles, generating 4 to 5 times more sales per SKU. What the data confirms is that the fast-acting is leading to the conversation. Corinne Butler, Senior Vice President for Growth at Azuka, told MJ Biz Daily, "They're priced higher, they sell faster, get more shelf space, and get repeat purchases. Consumers are willing to pay 30% more for fast-acting gummies, which get premium shelf space and high volume marijuana retailers. Fast-acting gummies generate about 50% of the sales for brands that have them in their portfolio, according to the BDSA study. Fast-acting is how you get placement and insulate yourself from price compression," Miller said. This study is proving that a pre-minimization, I don't know what that word is, but has the best ROI, return on investment potential. Brian Eisen, Vice President of Marketing for Las Vegas-based Planet 13 Holdings, said he's surprised the study found consumers are willing to pay a premium for fast-acting gummies. He hypothesized that inexperienced cannabis users who don't use cannabis in other forms are the primary buyers. If you're inexperienced, you're using multiple categories, Eisen said. If you're not, you're just willing to wait for an hour or 2 hours for the gummies to kick in. You want to have your experience. People who know the difference between distillate and rosin are likely to pay more for rosin gummies than fast acting. And Larson, CEO of Oakland, California's based cannabis ingredient manufacturer Vertosa said the maturity of the market plays a role in determining prices. He agrees that rosins are perceived as a premium product because they're truer to the plant, have more cannabinoids, and lead to more robust experiences. In older markets where people are familiar with the typical gummy, there's less price elasticity. They want the cheapest stuff they can get with the most milligrams, Larson said. In newer markets, you command more of a premium with the fast-acting process. Stephanie Carzon Abrams, a Los Angeles-based neuropharmacologist and founder of the science-driven strategy firm Beyond Consulting, said proving the technology does what it claims is key as consumers become more savvier about products that they consume. In a brand market, you want to demonstrate how efficient the nanoemulsion technology that's used could perform in a pharmacokinetic or it could perform a pharmacokinetic study to prove it. Pharmacokinetics measures the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of certain chemicals in living organisms. People will see that the more they're inclined to try, the more research there is that's out there. It doesn't have to be scientific language. Companies can translate it into language that consumers can understand. Vertosa conducted a pharmacokinetic study so it can explain the benefits of the fast-acting ingredients to potential customers. According to Larson, the company was able to prove its technology resulted in a faster onset and predict how long effects would last, showing the amount of THC in the subject's blood. A rapid onset is especially important for medical patients suffering from a variety of conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, said Harold Hahn, co-founder and chief science officer at Vertosa. Gummies infused with our emulsion deliver THC into the blood of 6 people within 10 minutes, Hahn said. PTSD patients need that quick onset of activity. So, yeah, I mean, this is really fascinating stuff. I mean, so I was a little skeptical that these nanoemulsions actually work in a beverage, let alone when you take the water away. So in a gummy, if you're putting this into the cook of the gummy, you're basically boiling off the water. So how is a nano-based formulation going to give you that fast onset of activity? They actually work. I was pretty skeptical going into doing some testing myself and found that I could certainly feel it. And if I could feel it, I think that, experienced cannabis users can feel these fast-acting effects. So, I think this is an exciting area, because people have always taken edibles and then, you don't feel the effects right away. So you take more, you don't feel the effects right away, take more. And then ultimately when that stuff does hit your system, it knocks you in the next week. So I think the fast-acting functionality that they can put into these gummies certainly is a good thing, and consumers are aware of it, and it sounds like they're fetching more in the marketplace for them. So that's a study from this group. That's my story for today. I'd be interested in what the other correspondents have to say about this.
Well, gummies. Oh, go ahead, Dr. T, please.
Oh, I know those guys. They're great guys over in Berkeley, Vertosa, and I did get to review their study with them. It was a good study. It showed cannabinoids in your blood very early and peaked in 15 minutes compared to eating non-emulsified cannabinoids that take 45 minutes to peak in your blood. So this could potentially solve the problem with edibles. Many people don't like edibles because it works. It takes so long to work, and it's hard to adjust your dose. So this could be a way to get at edibles maybe even more popular than flower and inhaling. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's interesting, Dr. T, to think that perhaps this is somehow protecting the cannabinoids from metabolism in the gut, right? Because obviously, if you take gummy, if you eat it and it goes all the way down into your stomach, now it's going to be reacted with 2 molar hydrochloric acid, which is pretty strong. That's going to start doing chemistry on the cannabinoids. Then it goes into the oxidizing environment of your liver. I think the nanoemulsions might actually serve to give you absorption in your oral mucosa. So as you're sucking on that gummy, it's going to get absorbed now into your bloodstream. And I believe that these nanoemulsions are basically increasing the bioavailability. If you're just using regular oil or like MCT oil type cannabinoid formulation, maybe these nanoemulsions are giving you a higher bioavailability. I had seen the Vertosa data too, Dr. T, and I was pretty impressed with that. I just think that, when you take, so the nanoemulsion itself is basically, think of milk, right? So milk is emulsified fat in a continuous layer of water, right? And you can keep on adding water to milk and it never separates out a separate oil layer because glycoproteins and other things that are in milk acts as a natural emulsifier, right? So if you remove the water from the nanoemulsion, and that's probably what's happening inside the gummy cook, right? Because there's not a lot of water in gummies. There's probably a trace amount of water, but you can't have a lot of water in gummies or else it'll just dissolve the sugar. So I think what's happening is the nanoparticle, which is defined by the shell of water that's around this emulsified fat particle, I believe what happens in the gummy cook is you boil off the water. Now what's replacing the water is the continuous phase of sugar, right? So all these gummies are basically made with a ton of sugar and pectin and other things like that. I think what happens is you boil off the water, but then the oil particle stays emulsified now by the carbohydrate molecules, the sugars and whatnot. Again, I was super skeptical when I heard that, you could just take a water-based nanoemulsion, add it to the gummy cook, and that's how you make fast-acting gummies. But again, I've tested these things myself, and certainly I can feel the fast-acting effect. So, yeah, there is really some.
I believe the emulsified product is a protein surrounding the fat, the cannabinoid. So I think they use a plant-based protein.
Right. So Vertosa. So these are all proprietary ingredients. So Zucca that they mentioned here and Vertosa are sort of competitors in that area. And yet, what they are, Dr. T, is they're natural based emulsifiers. Chihuahua is one of them that's used quite a bit. They have these things called saponin molecules. They're not exactly proteins, but they're just basically just natural based emulsifiers that emulsify fat into a water layer. So, and again, if you're adding oil to your gummies, you wouldn't think that you would need to add a emulsifier to it. But yeah, people sometimes are using lecithin. I know sunflower lecithin and soybean-based lecithin are commonly used emulsifiers. But yeah, those are just ways of emulsifying oil into water, which also works with sugar.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for this to come up. I remember 8 to 10 years ago running around the conference scene, especially in California. There was this guy, I wish I could remember his name, but he always wore a little hat with a whirligig propeller on the top of it, and he was handing out these little tiny, what would normally be used for powdered drugs, but he had this powder inside of them that he was like, this is 10 milligrams of THC that's nano emulsified with and bonded with a carbohydrate, which I assume is exactly what you were just talking about, Dr.
Exactly.
Mark. And this was so long ago, and you would just put it under your tongue. His instructions were take it out, put it under your tongue. It's 10 milligrams of THC, and he'd give you 3 or 4 or however many milligrams you wanted, but each bag was 10. And you would put it under your tongue, and it would dissolve. And within 1 minute, like by the time it dissolved under your tongue, it was in your mouth, and it did absorb through your mouth, and you would feel it definitely within 1 minute. And I'm surprised that it's taken this long for this to kind of become a thing. I thought when I had those way back then, I thought, oh, this is people are going to love this. Like you put this in a candy or something, and they're just going to eat it up. And for some reason, it never really took off, or it never really hit the scene, or nobody really understood what he was doing, or maybe the form factor, because it did. I mean, it was kind of sketchy the way he was handing out these little drug bags with a powder in it. But I was willing to try it, and a bunch of people were, and it worked incredibly well. And I thought, this is the future of edibles. I still do. From a branding perspective, I think that once the consumer really grabs onto this and understands that there's an edible that you can take that's not going to take 40 minutes or sometimes 2 hours, depending on your liver. Everybody's liver is different, right? Mm-hmm. So some people, it takes 2 hours. I've even had people who are like 4 hours before things, actually come onto them. And then I've had other people, like my wife, if she eats a normal edible, she'll feel it in 20 minutes. She's very, very fast. So, but that unpredictability is something that really scares consumers away, and new consumers especially. And I think that once it catches that this is a predictable way to understand, and then you can take 2 milligrams or 5 milligrams at once, and you can do it every 5 minutes and kind of build up to a place that you like, I think the consumers are going to absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, if you could self-build up your tolerance to edibles, I think people would totally dig on that.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about this type of product is that you can take a 2.5 milligram microdose and go, okay, I kind of feel that, but I'll take another one. And then you could try 5, and you could try 7, and you could try 10, and understand what happens to you within 10 or 20 minutes. That's way different than it taking all day to try to make that same experiment on yourself.
No, 100%. And Jesse, I just, don't ever picture you being the guy who's willing to try the strange drug in the weird baggie, but
never, right?
You don't know me. You don't know me that well.
I'm insanely sorry. My migraine is not going well. I'm being insanely sarcastic right now. Insanely sarcastic. Dr. T, does this kind of take away or affect like the whole ginger gene type of thing? You know what I mean? Like where people like Jesse sometimes need more anesthesia or more whatever, have different tolerances to edibles because of that typically found in ginger people only gene mutation.
Oh, in terms of metabolism of the cannabinoids?
Correct.
Some people will have different metabolism, like Jesse's explaining. His wife may have a different metabolism, which causes her to feel it sooner. So it doesn't take it away. It still some will be absorbed, but it still gets passed through your gastrointestinal system and gets metabolized by the liver. So there's going to be some effect to that.
Okay.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for bringing this up, Dr. Mark. This was super interesting, and we are going to roll into our final commercial of the day, and we are going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, I left one, But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified. I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
So I take.
And we are back, you guys.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yes.
And as I'm telling my business, thanks, Jason. Thank you for.
I got you, girl. I got you. Mhm.
Always, JB squared.
Yeah.
Well, JB squared is cubed because today we have Jesse Barney, a Barney Design Co., coming to bring us our second to last story of the day.
Right. Thank you very much, Jenny Beth. Yeah, JB cubed for sure.
Yeah.
Or to the third power.
We got bro. Look at this. You are JB also, bro. We got popping over here.
Correct.
Yeah.
We got all the JBs on the show. My story today comes out of SciTech Daily, and I'm always interested in this subject. Psychedelics boost brain flexibility for weeks, new study shows by the Genomic Press. So, in a groundbreaking study, researchers at the University of Michigan have found that a single dose of a psychedelic compound can significantly enhance cognitive flexibility, the brain's ability to adjust to new information and changing circumstances for several weeks. This discovery could lead to transformative treatments for conditions such as depression, PTSD, and neurodegenerative diseases. Published in the journal Psychedelics, the study reports that mice given a single dose of 2,5-CN-NBOH, a selective serotonin 2A receptor agonist, performed significantly better on reversal learning tasks than control animals, even when tested 2 to 3 weeks after treatment. I had to go look up what 2,5-CN-NBOH was. It's a derivative of phenethylamine, and which is something that does exist naturally in the body. And this is something that they have isolated and extracted and derived from that naturally occurring psychedelic that occurs in the body in very tiny amounts, similar to kind of like DMT. And they're giving these mice to this 2,5-CN NBOH, and then having them do reversed learning tasks, which I had to go learn what that was as well. And it's where they are training the mice to do one thing and be rewarded with one pattern recognition, and then they're reversing that and making the mice undo that learning and learn a completely different thing. And apparently, when they take this, I believe, which would be one high dose of this particular molecule, the mice that take the molecule are having a much better response to the reversal learning tasks over time. So what makes this discovery particularly significant is the sustained duration of cognitive benefits following just one psychedelic dose, said Professor Omar J. Ahmed, the study's senior and corresponding author from the University of Michigan's Department of Psychology. We observed enhanced learning adaptability that persisted for weeks, suggesting these compounds may induce lasting and behaviorally meaningful neuroplasticity changes in the prefrontal cortex. Using an innovative automated sequential learning paradigm, researchers evaluated how well mice could adapt to rule reversals, a common method for testing cognitive flexibility. Mice treated with the psychedelic compound outperformed those given a saline solution, showing greater adaptability, improved task efficiency, a higher percentage of correct responses, and more rewards earned during the reversal phase. The results complement existing cellular research showing psychedelic-induced structural remodeling in the prefrontal cortex, but uniquely demonstrate sustained cognitive benefits persisting long after the immediate effects of the drug have dissipated. As interest in psychedelic medicine continues to grow, this research raises intriguing questions about how psychedelics might reshape neural pathways governing flexible thinking. Could these compounds potentially reopen critical periods of brain plasticity, What molecular mechanisms underlie these long-lasting cognitive improvements? How might the timing and frequency of administration affect long-term neuroplasticity? In other words, they're continuing to study what one dose does versus what many doses over time does versus and how long of a time. And if they keep adding more doses, does this neuroplasticity keep increasing, or does it plateau, or does it level off and actually decrease after some point? So they're really interested in those particular findings. The current study focused on the long-term effects of a single psychedelic dose. Key question is what happens with 2, 3, or even 20 doses taken over several months? Is every additional dose increasingly beneficial for flexible learning, or is there a plateau effect, as I just said, or even a negative effect of too many doses? These are important questions to answer next in the quest to make psychedelic medicine more rational and mechanistic, according to Dr. Ahmed. Importantly, the study found that both male and female mice showed significant improvements in cognitive flexibility, suggesting the potential broad applicability of psychedelic therapy across biological sexes. The most striking aspect of our findings is that these cognitive benefits were measured 15 to 20 days after a single psychedelic administration, notes Elizabeth J. Brown's first author of the study. This suggests that a single dose of psychedelic isn't just temporarily altering perception, but potentially inducing lasting beneficial changes in brain function. The study's automated behavioral task represents a significant methodological advance for evaluating flexible learning, enabling researchers to efficiently evaluate cognitive flexibility in future investigations of psychedelic compounds. This high-throughput approach could accelerate the development of targeted psychedelic therapies for specific cognitive deficits. That's the end of the article. I found this just extremely interesting. And it brought to mind with the article that I brought up like a couple months ago, where they were talking about the fact that they're using this even for military research for improving the perception and learning and edge detection for warriors, and using actually psychedelics for war, which I think that this automatically probably lends itself to that, as well as these healing benefits of increasing neuroplasticity. So I'm going to toss it back over to you guys and see what you have to think.
Man, I want to hear what the doctors have to say about this, because this is just a little extra trippy for me.
Well, another chemical that's potentially beneficial for mood disorders. That's good. It seems to be a stimulant. It's just for those to understand, this is not the PEA that's the part of the endocannabinoid entourage. This derivative of phenylethylamine is a different compound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's related to, I should have said, it's also related to another compound that's known called DOI, which is another phenylethylamine. That word is so hard to say. But yeah, there's this kind of group of chemicals, and none of these chemicals are on the schedule, by the way, which is very interesting.
And they're plant derived.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. Man, it's coming to a head shop near you somewhere, right?
I actually, I looked it up. You can purchase it online.
Yep, exactly. They're gonna mix Dr. Mark's story with your story, Jesse, and it's gonna be in a head shop tomorrow.
Oh boy. Hopefully not that one that got busted for selling to the middle schoolers, you know?
Hopefully not, Jenny Beth. Hopefully not. Jenny, what do you think about this? I mean, you're familiar with the psychedelic space and whatnot, and all of these different things.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. I mean, listen, more research is important. I think one part that stood out to me is there a law of diminishing returns? Is there too much that's too much, instead of, too much is just enough?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting, and I'll read the article later and when I feel a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So pushy.
Oh boy, I love
Bringing up the rear.
I love being a pusher. You know what I'm saying? We got the doctors in. You know what I'm saying? We're pushing all kinds of things. You know what I mean? Stay pushing.
Pushing knowledge.
That's right.
I'm going to push you to do your last story, Jason. Coming up, bringing up the rear, the behind of High at 9, Jason Beck.
Oh, that's really, really cute, Jenny Beth. That's cute. Very, very cute.
Prime time.
Well, you know, it's Friday, and you know, there wouldn't be a proper Friday without a proper gaslighting today, you guys, because man, here we go. We got another gaslighting specialist. That's right, California Governor Gavin Newsom, because Newsom says his controversial hemp ban is 99.7% effective, you guys. That's right, effective. Not ineffective, but effective. It's not clear what will happen when California's emergency ban ends later this year, but Governor Gavin Newsom's office says the state has essentially eradicated hemp-derived THC products from alcohol sellers after it instituted an emergency ban in September. In a Thursday news release, Newsom announced that state officers have found almost 100% of businesses visited by inspectors were in compliance. That means that they were hiding them under the counter. Newsom issued the immediate ban on hemp-derived THC last year, saying the widespread sales pose a public health risk, and hemp-derived THC is an intoxicating compound found in cannabis plants but sold outside of the state's regulated dispensaries and often in drinks or vape cartridges. And many stores were still selling hemp THC products after the surprising ban went into effect, and according to an SF Gate investigation at the time, store owners said they were unaware that it had become illegal to sell intoxicating hemp vape pens and drinks. That now appears to have changed, according to the release, and officers with the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control have since visited 11,445 businesses and recorded 99.7% compliance with the ban. According to the news release, Devin Blankenship, a spokesperson for the agency, said liquor store owners have quickly learned they can't sell the products. In a quote, they say, "I think at first most of the licenses were just unaware of what was happening, and since then most of our licensees have done a good job of reaching out or educating themselves on what they can or cannot sell," Blankenship said. The inspections only cover stores that are licensed by the Department of Alcoholic and Beverage Control, and do not include hemp companies that advertise hemp on social media and ship directly to consumers. But the burgeoning hemp industry tried to block Newsom's emergency ban, but a court rejected that attempt, and Newsom's initial 6-month ban was extended in March for another 90 days and is set to expire in late June. The emergency ban can only be extended for one more 90-day period, according to the Office of Administrative Law, and Newsom's office did not immediately respond to a SF Gate question regarding what the governor plans to do once the emergency ban expires. Well, it sounds like it'll be hemp, hemp, hooray, and weed for the people all day once this ban expires, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
But it's hemp, hemp, hooray right now. I mean, you can buy this online. There's no way. Newsom's playing a game of whack-a-mole. It reminds me of Reagan back in the years recalculating the effectiveness, the unemployment rate, and saying that it improves. I think this is an old politician trick, calculate it so it makes you look like you're doing your job well. But many people in California have access to type 1 hemp products online. They don't have to walk down to the corner to get it. Exactly right. You know what I mean? It's because the ban doesn't stop direct to consumer off the internet, Dr. T. So you know what I mean? Is like, is it really that effective or not? Just because, and I'm sure that there's a number of these stores that are still selling these products to their customers because people want to buy them. And it's, it's kind of like KYC, you know what I mean? Know your customer kind of a thing. And you know what I mean? We keep them underneath the shelf in the back of the shop. And you know what I mean? They're not on display to the public. And we just sell the people that we know because they're going to keep on coming and buying them.
Well, you know what else isn't very effective, Jason?
Bans.
I didn't know I couldn't do that excuse. Like, we didn't know. Come on, there's been so much press and so much conversation and so much lobbying around whether we can sell these products in stores from state to state that I just, I'm not buying what they're selling. I really don't believe that they didn't notice that there's been a whole uproar and that these products were outlawed in their state.
Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of these people that have these kind of stores even watch the news in the first place, Jenny Beth. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, yeah, all right. Usually when these type of bans go into effect, leading up to it, like when they were getting rid of the flavored vapes that I'm holding in my hand right now that they've done a great job of getting rid of, they sent out notices to all those stores prior to the ban going in effect.
Mm-hmm.
Who exactly is Governor Newsom appealing to?
He's trying to appeal to the
regulated cannabis industry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, the regulated cannabis industry, because they're saying that these hemp products are cutting into the retail flow, because people can just go buy them in a store and they don't need to show their, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot more accessible than having to go into a dispensary with a tax markup and everything like that.
Yeah,
Jason, I wonder if they also didn't know they couldn't have the 1-Up bars on their shelves in the store and the smoke shop either.
What about all that kratom too?
That's what I mean. That doesn't make sense. So he's trying to appeal to the industry that he destroyed.
Pretty much.
He's a part of. He has financial interest in a cultivation on the watershed in Mendocino County. He's protecting his own bottom line too.
Oh, see, there it is. There, I was like, he doesn't actually care about the industry itself. No way.
In honor of Rico, follow the money.
There you go. There you go.
You have any final thoughts on this, doctors, on this topic?
Oh yeah, make sure to buy your online products from a reputable company that tests for pesticides and so that and doesn't convert, so that you're getting natural product.
Fair enough. I can support that all day, all the way. And in closing, we do want to remind everybody that Sunday is Mother's Day. Make sure that you call your mom, go and see your mom, get her some flowers, whatever you got to do. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Aim High Hemp Distribution and Tested, along with Catalyst, for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners Anthony out there in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And we're off.